Hey guys, it's Kyla at the MJC, and I am back with the next section of our marital settlement agreement without minor children document. That is the debts and liabilities section. So we'll get started with that in just a minute. But first, as always, I just want to remind you guys that nothing in this video is intended to be legal advice. It's a video, so I'm not able to tell you guys whether this is the right form for you to fill out, whether what you're agreeing to makes sense or is something a court might approve or is in your best interest. So if you have those sorts of questions, I definitely recommend getting some legal advice. You can get free brief legal advice here in Milwaukee County through the Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinics. If you are not located in Milwaukee County, you can contact your clerk of court to find out what are some resources available for pro se litigants in your county. All right. So looking at the debts and liabilities section, again, make sure all of the debts and liabilities we list should be all the ones you have individually or together as a couple. So all the debts you owe, regardless of if they belong to just one or the other of you and all that. And they should go ahead and match the debts on the financial disclosure statements. So you'll remember when we went through the financial disclosures, we said they needed to match each other. They also need to match this FDS. So here we can, this marital settlement agreement. So we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they've got 11 debts listed on the financials. And just to prove that John's matches up with that, let's go ahead and I'll show you on his. Same thing. John has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that those 11 debts all get put on the marital settlement agreement. So we'll start with mortgage. You can see it does say /rent. We generally don't list rent unless you are behind. So with your rent, if you have a back amount that is owed, maybe you missed a month during the pandemic and so you're still catching up, then we would list it. But if you're just current, we typically do not list that here. That may vary based on your county or your court official, but we traditionally would not put in rent unless you are behind. And I'm just going to see the mortgage balance looks like it is $65,000. So we're going to put in the total balance. Now I'll note a couple of things for you here. Notice I put the creditor's name. A lot of people want to put either the amount here, so they'll put like, oh, it's $120 I pay per month. Nope, it should be the name of the creditor here. And this should be the total balance. This is also not the monthly payment. The monthly payment isn't put in this section. So you've got the name of the creditor, the total amount owed to them, and then you're going to indicate following our divorce. So once we are divorced, or if you're doing a legal separation, once we're legally separated, who is going to be responsible for that debt going forward? And you can either say it's going to be the petitioner or joint petitioner A. So again, just as a reminder, I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing me say it, but anytime I say joint petitioner A, if you are filing as a stipulated pair, that means the original petitioner. And anytime I mention joint petitioner B, if you are filing as a stipulated pair, that's going to mean the respondent. So you can basically say we either want joint petitioner A to pay it, joint petitioner B to pay it, or we're going to split that and share it equally. And so those of you who've been watching these videos in order know that in at least one variation of this, John was keeping the house. So we'll go ahead and say since he's keeping the house, he's also going to pay the mortgage on it. And then if you have a second mortgage, you'll include that on that line. If you don't, you can skip and go to the next one. But John and Jane do have a second mortgage, and that's through U.S. Bank. So we're just going to go ahead and include that here. And again, we'll put the balance due. And then who's going to be responsible for it? A, joint petitioner B, or shared equally. So we'll do that. And then we're just going to go through this for all of the debts. So we have Honda Finance and Uncle Bob's car loans. We're going to list those here. And on that one, they go 10,000. And again, the balances due should match. And should match what we've got on the financials. So you can see Honda Finance, they're owed 10,000 here, 10,000 here as well. Uncle Bob's car loans goes here, and we're going to put the amount. So one question that we get from people is, okay, what if we run out of sections? So let's say John and Jane have 4 cars, or maybe you have more than 4 credit cards. What do we do? So you have 2 options, neither of which is very elegant, but they're kind of the options we have. Option 1 is if you're not using these other sections, you could use them. So if I have 8 credit cards, as long as I don't need the other sections for something, you could use those for credit cards. Similarly, for the cars, you could use the other sections. But what if you're using the other sections? What if you guys have a lot of debts, which it's okay. We always say divorce and bankruptcy are the happiness special. So there are going to be situations where you're going to have a lot of debts. You can't use the other section. You've already used all those up. Then you can either, if you have some sections that aren't being used, so like let's say John and Jane need an extra credit card line, and they've already used all the others. They could, but they're not using this other loan line. You could come up, write it in here, and then make sure when you print it out, you'll just white that line out and call it other. The other option you can do is you can come down here, you can click See Attached, and then in just a Word document, you can basically recreate this, this chart. You're going to say basically payment 4, payment 2, balance due, who's going to pay going forward, and you can fill that in and match that up. So whichever makes the most sense for you, but you're just going to go through and you're going to assign each of these. So we're going to put in both of their student loans. And we'll put, I think, trying to remember the amount. Looks like that one was $40,000. And you'll see here we're running a little bit into that issue because there isn't another student loan line, but both John and Jane have student loans. So we're going to put John's under loans other. And then we'll put that in there. And then here, John's going to keep that one. We can see they've got 2 credit cards, so we'll list the credit cards here. And it was American Express. And we'll match up the amount, so it looks like those were 600 and 200. And again, you can see I keep going back to that financial disclosure because we want them to match. So again, when we say that that is sort of the basis on which everything is built. We're not kidding. You're going to refer to your financial disclosures a lot. That's why we recommend doing it before you do the others. So then we're going to look and see, it looks like they've also got some back taxes. And you can see back taxes don't have their own category, so we'll have to put them under other. And again, we list the creditor, which is the IRS, and then we have the Department of Revenue. And again, looks like the IRS is owed $5,000, the DOR is owed $1,000. And then last but not least, we'll put in that medical debt. I know it's a lot of fun for you guys getting to watch me type. Medical debt, and the medical debt is $1,500. All right, so then we've got everything in, we think, and that's where you're going to go back and you're going to double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And 11 is what we have on the financials, so perfect. All right, so that is all for the debts and liabilities section. We're starting to get close to the end here. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope that it was helpful. If you have additional questions about what you should ask for or whether a court is going to approve your agreement, you can definitely get some legal advice either through the Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinics or through other resources in your county. If you have just questions about the forms, you can come in and see us at the Milwaukee Justice Center, which is located in room G9 of the Milwaukee County Courthouse. That's all for this time. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you all go out and represent yourselves well.